So oftentimes we have to tell whether or not a relation is a function. And so I have three different ways that we can show relations right here. And we just have to determine whether or not it's a function. So first we have our ordered pairs. When you're given ordered pairs, to tell whether or not this is a function, we need to look at our domain. Domain is all of those x's. And so with all of these x's, what we are looking for is, do we have any repeating x values? If you have a repeating x value, that means you have, one input matching up with two or more outputs, and that, for a function, you have one input matching up with one output. So if you see repeating x's right there, there's enough right there for me to say that one is not a function. If all those x values were different, then yes, it would be a function. On these points that we have plotted below, to tell whether or not this is a function, two things we could do. We could look at the ordered pairs. Here we have a -2, -2. We have a 2, 2. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and 5, -3. When we see all of those points written out like that, we can say, oh, look at that. We have 2 5s in our x values. So that right there are those repeating x's. So this makes this one not a function. And the other thing we have are these graphs on the right. And when we don't have all those points to kind of compare the coordinates to see if we have repeating x's, we can do a vertical line test. So if we take a vertical line like this one, and we move, let's say, from left to right, as long as you're passing through the graph in only one spot, then you have a function. And just keep in mind, the graph is actually just this shape right here. We don't want to get it confused with the x and y axes. There are kind of a lot of lines happening up here. So when we pass this over, it's only passing in one spot, so that means that that is a function. If we move down here, as we pass through, we see immediately, oh, wait a second, we're passing through in two spots, so that's enough to say that it's not a function. So that's using our vertical line test to tell whether or not we have a function if we're just looking at the graph. When you have repeating x values, like over here, this would not pass the vertical line test also. Those 2 5s as the x values end up stacked on top of each other like that. So a couple ways to figure that one out.